Hey everybody, we are back. We are live. We took a little break last week because me and Jeffrey are really busy right now with a bunch of other stuff. But we are doing good and we are back. We are here for the Mandalorian After Show presented by our friends at Tascam.
Yay.
And yeah, over here to my right, introduce yourself.
Once again, it is me, the J to the E to the double F -re. I am Jeffrey Harris, and welcome back to the MUSE TV after party, I guess.
After show.
After show recap today. How are you, Mike?
Tired. It's been a really busy March.
It is. This
Yep.
is like the busiest time of the year for me right now. I
Yeah.
don't think I'm going to have a busier time this year than right now. Because on top of everything that's going on, I also have to get my taxes done, which is very daunting as well.
Mine
So
are almost done. I just don't want to pay the fees yet. So I'm holding that up.
I feel that, it
I'll
is
hold it
what
to
it
the
is.
deadline.
But today is also a special day. You want to know why, Mike?
Why is that?
Because it's March 22nd,
Mhm.
and the Houston Astros are still the 2022 World Series champions.
You know it's raining outside, right? It's after
Yeah, we had tornado warnings. What's that about?
rain on your parade has been
Yeah.
for the Houston Astros.
Well, I'm concerned about these. We had a tornado in Montebello
Oh yeah,
yesterday.
right down, right over the hill from where I live.
When is the last time we had tornadoes in Southern California?
Well, it hasn't rained this hard in like 20 years.
But like a storm becoming an actual tornado. When has that happened?
I don't remember when.
Is this because of climate change, you think, or is this?
Yeah, it probably is because it's like you're either gonna get extreme dryness or extreme wetness.
But it is weird because we're not really used to getting. I feel like it's been raining nonstop since like January almost,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And like we had a couple days of nice weather, and now it's just like it's raining really hard again.
Exactly. But telling you, let's get into the show and then we could talk about other stuff afterwards before we let out.
Okay, so
But
last week, we're doing episodes 3 and 4 since we missed last week.
Mhm.
So episode 3 was actually a controversial episode
You think?
of The Mandalorian. I mean, I try to stay away from all the Twitter nonsense because it just gives me a headache, and I'm just like, I don't want that to kind of like color my opinions.
Mhm.
Let's see. Rachel Morris, no, Lee Isaac Chung directed last week's episode, The Convert. So we had only a little bit of Bo-Katan and Mando, Din Djarin last week. And then most of the focus we moved to Coruscant, and it was Dr. Pershing from the first 2 seasons, and the comms officer, Katie O'Brien, played by Katie O'Brien, who I thought was freaking dead.
That's
How first of all, how did she not die? Because they killed like everyone on that cruiser ship.
Mhm.
What
Almost everyone.
I guess did she get out of there beforehand, or
Yes, or somebody missed whether took a shot.
because like I remember her character, and Katie O'Brien is like kind of blowing up right now because she was just in Quantumania as Jentora, and she's also got like a Kristen Stewart movie coming out. So I can kind of see why they're using more of her because, she's like a talent on the rise.
Yeah.
Well, her character finally got a name when she was credited as comms officer in the first season. So her character's name is Elia Kane. So they're part of something called the Amnesty Program, where they're, I guess, trying to rehabilitate Imperials. And Pershing is in that program, but he's clearly kind of disappointed that he can't continue his cloning research with the Republic. And then that kind of evolves into this whole plot with Elia Kane trying to steal some equipment from a decommissioned Imperial Star Destroyer that's been, what's the word? It's been seized by the Republic on Coruscant. So we see a lot more of Coruscant. we see the New Republic era on Coruscant, and but what did you think of this episode? Because as I said, it was controversial because this is the longest episode of the season so far, and they mainly focused on a totally different plot.
Which I was okay with. I was okay with it. It wasn't bad to me. I thought it was okay. I thought it worked. I thought this is setting up something. I know they're trying to set up something else in this storyline, and I'm okay with it.
Well, I mean, I clearly see what they're doing. They're setting up that even though she's in the amnesty program, Elia Kane is obviously a mole, and she's still loyal to the Imperial Remnant and Moff Gideon.
Yeah, and I think she's
Because that was the message of the ending to me. She was trying to entrap Dr. Pershing and get a chance to eliminate him and keep his secrets from falling into Republic hands. But if the idea is to get rid of if the idea is to get rid of Dr. Pershing, why not do so? I mean, why not just have him assassinated? Why not just have him executed? Was this less conspicuous?
That's probably the case.
I guess it look. My only reading, my only interpretation, or I guess my only way I can see why she had it done this way, having him get arrested, makes it look like it was the Republic's fault. Like, oh, he was in our custody and he died from the mind flare, whatever that device was.
Yeah.
And then that's less suspicious than having him get executed in his apartment or something.
Right. Which would have been obvious of some foul play, even though when she drops the biscuits at the door was kind of an obvious.
She was entrapping him.
Yeah.
I don't want to say what I want to say. I don't know if we can say that on the air.
Yeah, but I could.
She was honeypotting him.
Oh yeah, exactly.
She was honeypotting him. She was luring him in. She was luring him in, and befriending him under false pretenses. So he would get arrested, and then she would have an opportunity to kill him.
Yeah,
while he was in custody.
Yeah.
So I guess that was the idea. And clearly, Elia Kane. We don't know where Moff Gideon is. They hit. There was like a throwaway line where he either escaped, implying that he escaped or something like that.
Yeah.
So Moff Gideon is still out there, and we can only assume that she's still loyal to Moff Gideon at this point.
Yeah.
But the episode that was the longest episode we've gotten this season, and all the episodes are kind of short in comparison, and I don't get it. Like last night's episode was less than half an hour. Not even half an hour. Like, what is going on here?
I think that's my biggest gripe. Is the consistency in times of these episodes. I think that's my biggest gripe. I think the last episode, like the way everybody's just have their views on the last episode, mine is more like that didn't bother me. I would like to see the editing where it's not just about them. You cut back to you bounce back and forth into it. I mean, that's okay. I'll be okay with that. My biggest complaint is the fact of the length of the episodes are not consistent.
I agree with that. I don't. You see, because we're still not done with the story. So I don't really feel like last night's episode was a bad episode because I feel like they're going somewhere with it that will fit into the whole kind of narrative. It's just that with The Mandalorian, we haven't been too used to the story veering too far from Dean, Djarin, and Grogu. It hasn't, like whenever we see scenes with them not in it, they don't really last that long. And this was almost like the whole episode. But we did get we had that intro and outro with Bo-Katan and Mando. They blew up. I guess the Imperials are still after Bo-Katan. They blew up her palace. So then they took refuge back with the Covert's new hideout. And I guess what Din Djarin did was enough to get him get his excommunication lifted and become part of the tribe. And now Bo-Katan's part of the tribe. Here's my problem with this.
Him jumping and bathing into Lake Minnetonka. I mean,
well, whatever. All their stupid, goofy rules. Whatever. Does Bo-Katan really have no idea who these people are? Pre-Vizsla, Pre-Vizsla is clearly related to Paz Vizsla, who's with the Children of the Watch.
Yeah,
she was Pre-Vizsla's right-hand woman. Death Watch clearly has some connection to Children of the Watch. The Death Watch came from Concordia, where Din Djarin grew up, or where he was born. That's where he was raised with his parents before they were killed. Something just doesn't smell right about any of this.
Yeah. Well, and like in this episode, when they're making her new armor and talking about
the
Mythosaur and the Night Owl.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like she doesn't know what the hell is, or like her voice kind of sounds like she doesn't know what, is a little lost. I don't know why.
I don't know. I think I read in an interview by Katie Sackhoff that she's just looking for some place to belong or something.
Yeah.
Right now. But I did like all sort of the Mandalorian cultural stuff this episode.
Yeah.
We did learn a little bit more about Pre-Vizsla though. So that kid we saw in the season premiere is his son, and his name is Ragnar. The kid that's played by is it Wesley Kimmel?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wesley Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel's nephew. So he's Ragnar, and he is the son of Pre-Vizsla. But
Grogu made him look kind of.
Yeah. But here's my problem. We hear Pre-Vizsla's name in Bo-Katan's presence, and she doesn't react at all to that name.
Yeah.
I feel like there would be Pre-Vizsla. So did you know Paz Vizsla? No one questions her background and what she was doing with the new Mandalorians, who this cult is. She knew who the Children of the Watch were in season 2. So I'm just saying some things just aren't adding up right now, and I feel like there's some important conversations they're not having.
Yeah, which you would think there would be start coming in now,
or maybe I would think
because there's only 8 episodes, right?
Yeah. Now this is my problem. This is something they could have done this episode to kind of flesh things out.
Yeah.
And give us a more robust episode.
Add another 5-10 minutes to the episode.
Exactly. So another chunk of this episode, we actually got a flashback from Grogu. It's kind of like those flashbacks from Din Djarin's perspective in the first season. Yeah. We saw a little bit more of what happened to him at the Jedi Temple during when it was sacked by the clone troopers during Revenge of the Sith. So who saved him?
I don't know what the name of the Jedi was, but I was
Kelleran.
Yeah. I didn't know who his name was, so I was trying to figure out
who was it though. Kelleran Beck. Who played Kelleran?
I knew it was him right off the bat. I didn't know who the Jedi name.
Ahmed Best.
Yeah.
And who is Ahmed Best?
Our fun, lovable little what was his name?
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks. I try to forget him as much as I possibly
can. But you know what? Good on Favreau and Filoni giving Ahmed Best a new role for Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it seems like we might see a little bit more of this character, because it seems like we might get another flashback to see where, because this flashback we see Grogu, like the Jedi's protecting Grogu, smuggling him out of the palace. They get help, I guess, from the Nubian people, who give Kelleran a ship, and he escapes with Grogu off Coruscant. So that's where it ends. So I'm sure there will be like another part to that in the later episodes.
Yeah, which I felt like that part was probably one of the best.
That was good
parts of this episode, because at least we get a little more backstory onto Grogu's.
Yeah, because I've been wondering like how Grogu got out of that situation, and but then where did he? Because if you think about it, this was basically like 25 plus years ago. So where did he spend? So where did he spend the next 25 years? You know,
I think we're gonna see that coming.
So
up.
I think we're gonna have to see it, a little bit more of that. So I'm sure we'll probably see a little bit more. But good on, I think, Filoni and Favreau for giving Ahmed Best a new role, and Jar Jar Binks. It is what it is. But giving Ahmed Best a new role, a new character to play for Star Wars, I think is very cool.
Yeah,
I think it's cool of them to do that. But they still need to give Ashley Eckstein a role, which they have not.
Yeah.
They gave who's the voice actor for Anakin? It's not Hayden, Matt Lanter. They gave Matt Lanter a role in the first season. They haven't given Ashley Eckstein a role yet. They need to give her one, the voice of Ahsoka, because
maybe she'll be in Ahsoka.
They gotta give the girl something,
Yeah,
she deserves it, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I agree.
She's such a nice, positive person.
I'm friends with her husband, so yeah.
She's just like a warm, compassionate soul. I want her to get like a live action role in Star Wars, because she's so nice. And I want nice things to happen to her,
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully that'll happen. But yeah, I did like that kind of prequel era sequence where we get a bit more, we learn a bit more about what was going on with.
And I think that was so needed, and it was well done in that part. That the reminiscence of it is when she's making armor for Grogu.
Do you think Grogu seemed kind of sad at first, but do you think now he's accepting the Mandalorian way, or do you think he's conflicted?
I think he's conflicted. I think it's conflicted, but also I think he's traumatized too, because if you notice, every time the metal was hitting metal and the sounds were coming out, it kind of he got scared, and it was sticking.
But now he's got a signet plate with his he's got a signet plate with the Mudhorn, because that's his clan signet.
Yep, exactly.
In most of the episode, we have this. So there's this creature. What is it called? A war shriek or something?
Yeah,
a raptor. It's like this reptilian condor that kidnaps Ragnar Vizsla, who is the kid, and the son of Pre Vizsla, takes it to its nest to feed to her young. So the other Mandalorians go on like a hunting party to kill the creature and save Ragnar. And we find out the kid is Pre Vizsla's son. I think now I do want to credit, because there were people that kind of caught that in the first episode of the season, that okay, the way the interaction that Pre Vizsla and Ragnar had, maybe he's his son or something, because you did see him like moving to protect Ragnar in the first episode. So now we kind of get that. I just feel like there's something missing between Bo-Katan and Pre Vizsla, because Like, it's not a coincidence that his name is Pre Vizsla. It can't be.
Yeah.
He can't be like a distant relative who did not know Paz Vizsla.
Yeah. There has to be a connection. It makes no sense that if there's no connection there.
Um,
And I think
what
that's where this episode's kind of like, I don't know.
I just feel like they're not addressing things that they should be addressing. I guess that's what I'm frustrated by.
Yeah.
What do you make of that conversation with Bo-Katan and the armorer, Emily Swallow?
That's the one where I'm kind of like, I'm starting to believe my first theory may be true.
What's your first theory?
Well, Bo-Katan tells her about the mythosaur that she saw one.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of back and forth and her saying that, oh yeah, you see a lot of things, blah, 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 because she doesn't believe it. My thing is that I still think like she's gonna use that in order to take over, because the reason why she didn't like do anything with Mando or didn't Djarin in that last episode was because of the fact that he has the dark saber. But
Right.
this way, if she kills the mythosaur, wouldn't that just override the dark saber?
I mean, that would. I mean, whoever were. Well, I mean,
Because
whatever
to
they do
me,
with the mythosaur, that's like your trump card, I would think.
but like I'm thinking like
You
sometimes
don't have. Oh, you don't have to kill it.
oh well, there you go, or just write it.
What is Grogu good at?
Oh, exactly, just capturing,
What
holding.
did Grogu do to the Rancor, Mike?
Oh yeah, but this is not about Grogu. Doesn't have anything to do with this.
Yes, he does.
Well, I think he could be, but
Grogu is the. If you want to tame that thing, Grogu is the key.
well, yeah. But I think Bo-Katan wants to do it on her own.
I don't know if she'd be successful.
Don't know.
That thing, did that thing not look like it was the size of Godzilla?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It looked huge.
Mm-hmm. But
Like,
also too, like I think she's conflicted as well about not only being accepted to this clan, but also on the other hand wanting to lead the remaining Mandalorians.
I just find it odd that she and the armorer have never met before.
Yeah, that seems odd to me.
The armorer knew who she was beforehand.
Yeah.
But she did not see it seemed like she had never met her before for some reason.
I agree. That's why like I'm kind of like it's a little, it feels like a filler episode to me. This episode. Because it wasn't setting something that's going to happen. It wasn't moving the story forward except for certain scenes. But the whole episode didn't seem like it was.
We did, other than we did learn more about Grogu.
Yes. Well, that moves the story
But
forward.
again, I would have had more interactions with Pre Vizsla. I would have had more interactions with the armor. And I would have fleshed things out just to make this feel like a fuller, more robust episode. And
Right.
that's my main criticism this week.
Oh, I agree with you on that one. I wish that it kind of, you get some forwarding of the story, but a lot of it is not really being forwarded as well. Because like,
This is the halfway point. We're at the halfway point right now.
But that's that's always been my issue with a lot of these Disney Plus series.
And we haven't seen Moff Gideon yet, but we know he's going to be there this season. Oh, here's the other thing. This episode this week was directed by Carl Weathers. So we got another Carl Weathers episode this week. Let's see. I don't think Favreau is directing an episode.
No, I don't think he is this year.
Also, Jon Favreau and Filoni were the credited writers for this episode. No, I mean, I feel like they are going somewhere. I just feel like there's important like there's important stuff they're avoiding, and I don't know, maybe they're just going in a different direction than I'm expecting, but we shall see.
Yeah, and
Any
I think for me,
Mhm. Yeah,
if I knew how they shot this and how this whole series,
yeah.
like, do they shoot it continuously like a movie and then break it up into the chapters, or do they
I'd be curious to
like?
know how. I'd be curious to know that.
Yeah, or do they shoot it like a regular television show where you
Do they
shoot?
shoot it episode by
Yeah,
episode? I'd be
exactly.
curious to know that as well.
Because then
And
it kind of makes sense onto why it is the way it is.
they did have some nice exteriors this week.
Yes, they did.
I'm sure some of that. I'm sure some of that stuff was shot in the volume, but I'm sure, but like the cliff scaling scenes were really cool,
Yeah.
and the jetpack scenes were really cool, and then we had the chase with the, I mean the visual, everything looked on point this week, visually, and
Oh,
in terms of the
definitely.
action. The action was all really good.
Mhm. The
Uh,
When you see the ship and when Bo-Katan's in the ship chasing that the
the
flying,
Raptor.
yeah,
Let's
the
call it the
Raptor.
Raptor.
When you're seeing it and it's on the sun and you see the shadows of the ship chasing the Raptor, that was like you could tell they really did a great job with.
The dogfight last week
Mhm,
was good too.
mhm.
And I like, cuz for this show, or at least in the first season, they did use miniatures, and they like the way they film the, so the fact that they use miniatures for the ships and the dogfights, I think helps a lot,
Yeah.
just with how sharp and just crisp they look,
Mhm. I agree.
um in terms, in the frame. But yeah, action wise, visually, I don't really have any complaints this week.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just curious what next week's episode's gonna be like, and I'm really hoping it's not 20 something
Let's
minutes.
see.
Are we going?
So other directors next week's episode will be directed by Peter Ramsey,
Mhm.
who directed, I think he mainly has an animation background. He directed Rise of the Guardians. And he was co-director on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So there you go.
Yeah.
So Peter Ramsey is the director of next week, and then episode 6 will be Bryce Dallas Howard's episode. And the last 2 episodes of the season will be Rick Famu Iwa's episodes.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's what we, but I think we just need, I do want more consistency with the episode links, and I think what would have livened up last week's episode is if maybe you intercut a bit more of the Mandalorian stuff with the Coruscant stuff.
I
I
agree.
think people would have,
Mhm.
but again, I see, I think they're going somewhere with it, and I don't want to impose my ideas too much, because it's, I want to go on the journey a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, that's where I really wish I knew how they shot this
Yeah,
season.
that might have an impact on
Yeah,
this as well.
exactly. And then it would explain to me a lot more why the reasoning on why we have one show that's 30 minutes, one show that's 28, then another show that's 45. And it'll make sense to me a little bit more
Hmm.
because I don't know, because as a viewer watching this, it annoys me that you get a short episode, a medium-sized episode, then a long episode.
It is. It seems a bit. It seems a bit weird. Now, there's one more. I just wanted to check the credits again for this.
Especially after The Last of Us and everything that I watch on HBO and cable and other streaming platforms where it's a traditional format of a show. It's the same length every week, which is kind of
Right.
what sometimes throws me off when I watch this.
Yeah. And I just feel like, I know it's a streaming series, but I just feel like this is Disney. Like this is Disney's platform, right? Like they make the rules here. It's
Mhm.
not like, are there even regulations for streaming content?
No.
Like, because the
Whatever you
FCC
want
the FCC has nothing to do with content
to
streamers, do they?
do. Not yet. I wouldn't be surprised if one day they will.
But
But no.
as of now, like they have no say on guidelines,
Mm-mm.
length, like ads or anything.
Nothing.
Correct.
Nothing, because it's all based on whatever the company wants to do.
All right. So I just feel
Oh,
like if they're making the rules, like they don't have to. They don't have to kind of. I don't know. I just feel like they could be doing a bit more
and
now.
it could be the fact that they want to stretch it out. Maybe they were looking at 6 episodes and they said stretch it out to 8.
That's possible. And the other possibility I could foresee is that it's expense. I doubt this is a cheap show to
Oh,
produce. So I can understand that.
mhm.
But still, I just feel like what I'm asking for is not like more big scale action. I'm just asking for some more important character moments and kind of just sort of addressing these burning questions
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
move the story along and keep it going, because sometimes I feel like this episode I felt shortchanged.
Right.
There was more to it that could have
Okay.
another
Here
10 minutes.
Here we go. Okay, so the Mandalorian judge was Jason Chu.
Mhm.
So we had Tamura Morrison as the clone troopers. More work for Tamura Morrison. Senate Guard captain was Juan Javier Cardenas. I do not recognize that name. Do you?
No, I don't recognize it.
Okay, so I was just wanting to see if there's anything else standing out here. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add on this week's episode or last week's?
Actually, no. I think that we were pretty straightforward on everything. Uh,
Okay.
it's gonna be. I'm just wondering what episode 5 is gonna be like next week.
Um, I am as well, but we know it's got a pretty good director
Mhm.
behind the camera at least.
Yep.
All right. So anything else going on? You got some cool stuff going on, Mike?
We got big interviews we have up. We have Marco Zarro from John Wick Chapter 4. That's up right now.
Okay.
And Natalia Tena. She's in John Wick Chapter 4. You can check those out. Michelle Rodriguez will be coming in on Friday. That pre-shot interview that goes up on Friday, and then next week we're going to be talking to John Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Rick Fuyayama for the Mandalorian. So hopefully we could find out. I could ask them a little bit more, and we could find out a little bit more about the show and where it's going and what's going to happen this year.
Uh okay. So
And you got a big week next week.
yes, so next week did I say I was doing WrestleMania?
Well, you did right now.
Yeah, I'm going to WrestleMania, and I will be covering WrestleMania at least nights 1 and 2
Mhm.
for 411 Mania. So look forward to that, please. And I'm very excited about that. So this will be technically my first WrestleMania as a reporter,
Mhm.
but it will be my third WrestleMania overall, having attended 17 and 25. So, yeah, it's a big moment for me. I'm very excited. So, I do want to thank WWE for granting us a credential, and it should be pretty cool. And I'm still waiting to hear back on other surrounding events, but those are going on as well. I'm just waiting to hear back on those.
Awesome. Well, if you
But yeah,
see,
I don't think there's ever going to be a busier time of year for me than
oh,
right now.
no, CinemaCon will be a little bit of a vacation for you this year.
Yeah, but that's just a few weeks later. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's all like packed in
Yes, exactly.
for this next month, and then on top of all the other work I have to do.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy. It's definitely a burning the candle at two ends situation.
Yep, but it's a good thing because the last 2 years we didn't have that. So
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So yeah, it's I don't want to.
Don't want to
complain too much. I don't want to complain too much.
You don't want to kill the streak. That's what I always say. Don't want to kill the streak. But how can they find you, Jeffrey?
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at WheelJack83. You can find my reviews, interviews, and such. 411mania.com. You can look my Rotten Tomato meter critic profile, Rotten Tomatoes, Jeffrey Harris. You can also check out my interviews at the 411 Mania YouTube channel. Just look up 411 Mania on YouTube. And once again, I am the J to the E to the double F Jeffrey Harris.
Exactly. And I'm Mike Sandoval. You can catch me here on MUSE TV, along with Hannah Fletcher and some of our new people that we just have has joined, and we're expanding. So hope you enjoy, and we will see you next week, hopefully, unless Jeffrey has some type of WrestleMania extravaganza next Wednesday. Then if not, we'll see you the week after. So
thank you, everybody.
See you next
time.
time.
Thanks for joining us.